part of the job, monitoring the situation. Okay, I've been asking about this guy. Wow, talk about, dude, this guy is like a walking stereotype. I see that image, and it just makes me think,
stereotyping Jews is terrible.
Looks like he's straight out of South Park. This is the Chabad Lubavitch Trump nominee. We got to look up his name, too. I don't know how he hasn't been confirmed yet, how that the Jews have been making no stink at all about him not being confirmed to his post. All they ever talk about is cracking down on anti-Semitism, but he hasn't been confirmed. Or am I saying this completely wrong and he has been confirmed? Let's see. The Rise of Yehuda, Trump nominates. I don't even know if he's been in Congress yet to be confirmed. Anyway, appointed by Trump, his pick for the anti-Semitism czar, or anti-Semitism envoy leader that's an ambassador. They voted to elevate it to an ambassador level position, speaking at the Jewish National Syndicate, the JNS conference. Oh, this is a long clip, but I want to hear what he has to say.
Speaking of the UN, the
Chabadnik cracking down on anti-Semitism.
Darkness. Danny, thank you for bringing Ambassador Danon light to the House of Darkness. And speaking of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, I'm here to tell you that Mashiach is coming. It's not me, but our Chabad friend.
Dude, that was a weak round of applause for Moshiach is coming. Hold up. How many people are in this crowd? Did you hear how pathetic that's the round of applause that Moshiach gets? They're cooked.
To the House of Darkness. And speaking of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, I'm here to tell you that Mashiach is coming. It's not me, but
it's not you.
Friends are here.
Yeah, I'm sure none of the rabbis thought that the Moshiach was a woman. Please, Moshiach now, 4 clappers.
And I can tell you, Mashiach is coming because
Lion of the tribe of Judah.
President Trump has appointed a Chabad rabbi to lead the special envoy of combating anti-Semitism in the White House, Rabbi Yehuda Kaplun.
The president, when he called me, he asked me if I would serve my country. And then he said, I would like you to be responsible for every Jew in the world.
Whoa.
It's not something that I take very lightly. I'm going to share with you a very brief thought. I'm not going to get into policies because the State Department, until my hearing, would be very upset with me. And there's many people in the State Department that are not happy that there's an Orthodox rabbi going to walk the halls of the State Department.
Based State Department doesn't want a rabbi? He hasn't had his hearing yet.
I was the first civilian.
And I haven't seen one article of Jewish press complaining that he hasn't. Where are the accusations of anti-Semitism that he hasn't been confirmed yet? Bizarre.
To meet Yarden Bibas after he was freed. Yarden Bibas told me a story. I'm going to share it with you because Thursday night, when we are at Nila, I would like you to think about it, because when we all say the last prayer of Shema Yisrael.
Dude, I'm looking at these comments on the Backlash video on Rebecca Blonde's channel, and every single negative comment has said the same thing. Reddit tier arguments. Reddit atheist arguments. Dude, Christians are cooked. That's the best they have to offer, is just to think that they can say the word Reddit like that's an argument. Sad situation. Sad state of affairs.
Story because it's indicative of who we are. Yarden Bibas, 3 months into his captivity, a Hamas interrogator walked into his room. He took his bottle of water that he was giving to Yarden and he said, Yarden, would you like to be with your family again? Mind you, these animals had already killed his wife and kids. He said, if you will convert to becoming a Muslim, we will move you to Egypt or another country, and you can live with your wife and children. Yarden Bibas turned around. He looked him in the eye and he said, Ani noladi Yehudi, ani amut Yehudi. I was born Jewish, I will die Jewish. Yarden Bibas.
What does that mean?
Ask me what happens with those words. I want to tell you, you can be a rabbi and you can never prepare for that question, no matter how long you're a rabbi. I thought for a second and I asked God to put some words in my mouth and I'm going to share it with you. I said, Yarden, God heard those words. He took out his pen and he wrote those words in his hand and he placed those words in his heart. And at times of great Jewish troubles, He's going to look at those words. I said, on Yom Kippur, you hit a level that one day that you had, that none of us on Yom Kippur, not the greatest rabbi in the world, can ever reach that level. I want to share with you two simple things that happened with that story. Thursday.
Dude, this guy, this is the best guy they had for the job? Trump just knew this guy because they like had some other connection. This is really the best guy they got for the job? They think this guy is going to stop anti-Semitism?
The president bombed Iran. I was leaving the West Wing, and someone said to me from the military, he said, where are you going to be? I said, I'm going back to Miami. He said, have a wonderful Shabbat. But on Friday morning, my phone rang, and it was Yarden Bibas, and he said, Yehuda, I'm sitting here watching missiles hitting Israel. Maybe it's time God looked at those words. The next day, the president sent a message. But you can't make this up as a Jewish nation. Today on the plane coming here, a lady sitting across the seat from me with a baby looked at me and she said, I know who you are. Well, since I've been nominated, I'm living with police protection. She's an FBI woman who works for the FBI, and she has a 3-month-old baby.
Oh my God, I can't handle anymore. This is torture.
With Gaon Yaakov, with the pride of Yaakov, with the pride of Jacob, with the pride of my forefathers.
Jewish
those
pride.
People who have come before us, and on the backs of every Jew who has never apologized for being Jewish. I will not apologize. I will not apologize for who we are. I will not apologize for the roles that we take. We have given this country, we have elevated everywhere we've ever been, and the President, the Secretary of State, Pam Bondi, the Secretary of Education, Harmeet Dillon, you've heard from a very patriotic friend of mine, Leo Terrell. This is
I don't know why he's out of breath.
Administration is taking
allergies.
extremely seriously. I have very good friends from the ambassador who just spoke and who's on the front lines, and he has given me a lot of pearls of wisdom about being on the front lines in the State Department and around the globe. So we will build bridges, but we are going to do it unapologetically. Thank you very much. Shana Tova.
Oh my God, worst speech ever. When I saw this guy was nominated, I was like, oh shit, we're in big trouble. I don't know, maybe he's unassuming and it's going to be bad if he gets in, but
Speaking of the UN.
okay, that's the one we just watched. Now, here's Greenblatt the other day, because we got a new Greenblatt clip.
Against extremist groups, we stopped playing defense
Medusa, she does look like Medusa.
and have moved to offense. You see this in our focus on the courts. In the past 12 months, ADL's filed more lawsuits than in the prior 112 years against extremist groups, elite universities, public companies, school districts, and state sponsors.
Not beating the stereotypes. They're like, we sued everybody for being anti-Semitic.
Stereotyping Jews.
Of terror. We've launched innovative products to intercept anti-Semitism before it takes root, whether in the boardroom or in chat rooms.
You're going to stop it in chat rooms before it takes root?
Large language models or academic associations.
AI.
Wikipedia entries or WhatsApp chats. This work matters, not just for the Jewish people, but for all of society. We stopped playing defense and have moved to offense.
It's always defending themselves. Like he hasn't been on offense. Come on. All they've ever done is offense. Crying out in pain as they strike.
They're not.
This was at the International Institute for Counterterrorism. Linking anti-Semitism, anti-Semitic sentiment as terrorism, and evoking that we should be using genius creative ideas like the pagers to stop anti-Semitism is very ominous.
You see, anti-Semitism, it's a predictable indicator of anti-Western sentiment. They're not distinct, guys. They're intertwined phenomenon. It doesn't matter whether it originates on a political
Anti-West, all of the anti-Edom stuff we've seen from rabbis, and to hear him say that is just shocking. I mean, he's ignoring that, but I mean, it is true that we see so much of the Christian-Muslim pro-Russia alliance stuff constantly attacking the West. They do attack the West. The Duganist attacking the West. But then he misses the other side of the coin, what they say about Edom.
spectrum in a religious framework or some other context. As Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sacks of blessed memory once put it, the hate that starts with the Jews, it never ends with the Jews. That's why fighting anti-Semitism cannot be separated from the broader counterterrorism fight. The ideologies, the networks, they are deeply connected. Plain and simple, anti-Semitism is a national security threat that must be defeated.
National
and so at
security
ADL,
threat.
we've made our choice. We will never stop. We will never stop fighting the enemies who seek to delegitimize and destroy us. We will never stop exposing those who try to justify their agenda of anti-Jewish racism.
Dude, isn't there like such a war? Like, doesn't it feel like war? I'm watching all these clips of the way they talk about everything. They consider themselves in a state of war against the Gentiles. That is true. They see the Christian Zionists, the Noahides, as their greatest allies, and they recognize the controlled op aspects of Christianity and Islam as well. They understand how they're within the Judeo paradigm. They understand how they're discredited and give them their victimhood. I'm really getting a we're at war vibe.
Whether they call it decolonization or cultural preservation or whatever, we will never stop resisting those who try to impose their anti-Semitic nihilism on us, whether they dress it up as anti-Zionism or National Socialism. And we will never apologize for defending our community, for defending our people, for defending the Jewish state. Not now, not ever. So thank you, Shana Tova, and Am Yisrael Chai. You see, anti-Semitism.
Another new Knesset task force. It won't be solved by the government.
Oh, this is where he's in the Knesset in Israel talking about having a new Unit 8300, as if Unit 8200 isn't enough. JIDF, Hasbara is not enough.
We'll be doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. It's the definition of insanity. So starting with ADL and the rest of the NGO sector, in the U.S. and around the world, we've got to start doing things differently. And the same goes here in Israel. This means that the problem won't be solved by yet another new Knesset task force. It won't be solved by the government just throwing money at the problem. It won't be solved by the IDF spokesperson's unit issuing updated talking points or suddenly using TikTok. Like us in America, you need to adopt new strategies, to experiment with creative tactics, to study the results and scale what works. Maybe it's a whole new IDF unit, call it 8300, to lead this fight. But we need the kind of genius that manufactured Apollo gold pagers and infiltrated Hezbollah for over a decade to prepare for this battle. We need the kind of courage.
They need the genius to take on the pagers and another Jewish division to wage war in the info war.
Genius.
While they're working with FBI and CIA and police.
Today, our team includes software engineers and data scientists who work as full-time staff, along with Nobel laureates and MacArthur Genius Award winners who serve in our extended network. Together, they monitor the danger, track the extremists, analyze the environment, and ultimately, before they explode. They do this work through a mix of human and SIGINT, 24/7. Many of us in this room, we read the headlines about raging hate. At ADL, our team swings into action before the headline is written. In 2024 alone, we provided some 2,700 tips to law enforcement. I'm talking about actionable intelligence that leads to investigations, search warrants, arrests, and prosecutions. We've been doing this kind of work for decades.
Israeli politician Yair Golan openly declares that the next step is imposing strict controls on social media, blocking anything authorities label as propaganda.
The place where all the big firms is, I will. The next thing I will do, we will do, is to put restriction on the social media.
Put the restrictions on the social media. This is so cartoonishly stereotypical.
To put restriction on the social media in a way that not allowed to make brutal propaganda in the social media.
No propaganda allowed on social media.
Because this is a worldwide problem. And it should be initiated by the United States of America.
Majority of
the place where all the big firms is settled. Facebook and X and all the rest. This is a major problem for democracy all over the globe.
Not allowing them to censor freedom of thought and freedom of speech is anti-democracy.
To treat it seriously. We can do it.
We can do it. Remember at the other JNS? Oh, wait, this is the same one. They had another one. Remember this one?
a majority of Gen Z have an unfavorable impression of Israel. And my friends, I think the reason for that is that we're losing the digital war. Okay, they're getting their information from TikTok and X, whatever it is, and we're losing that war. When you think about it, the masters of the universe are Jews. You know, we've got Altman and AI, we've got Zuckerberg, we've got Sergey Brin, we've got the whole group across the board. Jan Combs, founded WhatsApp. It's us. And we have to figure out a way to win the digital battle. Amelia, we got to get our digital sneakers on so that the truth can prevail over the lies. And when we do that, the future of Israel will be stronger because a majority of all Americans will support Israel. We'll make that happen. We have to make it happen. Thank you.
Oh, my God. We'll make that happen. Have to make it happen. Everybody will be pro-Israel because they're gonna shovel it down your throat and censor everything that's against Israel with social media.
Stronger because a majority of all Americans will support Israel.
All the Americans are going to support the Israel once we take control of the internet and lock you in prison if you say anything mean about us.
Make that happen. We have to make it happen. Thank you.
So crazy. The CEO of the JNS talks about using nukes and having a massive investment into the information battlefield.
World's best planes. Israel has the world's best planes and best precision-guided weapons, offensive and defensive. And Israel may or may not have, ambiguity intended here, the world's most powerful weapons to serve as a deterrent against any force that seeks our annihilation. Israel has fought and continues to fight bravely on 7 fronts. The Prime Minister refers to the battle of information
7 fronts
as the 8th front. It is actually this 8th front where our enemies believe they can actually defeat the Jewish state. Ladies and gentlemen, we must not let that happen, and we will not let that happen. Just as Israel has invested billions and billions of dollars into securing Israel's qualitative military edge on the battlefield, we must now invest heavily in the information battlefield. We are being dramatically outspent by our opponents, who control the newsrooms of the mainstream media, who control university Middle Eastern study centers, and who control the world's most powerful social media algorithms and bot farms. I'm calling today for the supporters of Israel to make a massive investment into the information battlefield. Like every other battlefront, this is an arena that we can and must win. We must take all of our technological expertise and all of our available resources to develop methods to launch and win a significant counter-information campaign. Even with massive investment, we may not see an immediate turnaround, but the Jewish story is a long one. We can and will win back public opinion. Ladies and gentlemen, the decisions that are being made by Israel's Prime Minister and the victories on the kinetic battlefield have the potential to usher in an era of peace and prosperity in Israel and across the greater Middle East. When this happens, Israel must be well positioned to ultimately win the battle of narratives.
They are not being coy about this. Kyrone Skinner, deputy or director of policy planning at the State Department, touts Black Jewish Alliance and condemns the lie that Jews participated in the slave trade. Lie? I've seen evidence for that. That's not a lie.
Thank you.
Yeah, Jews. The Bible doesn't condone slavery, and the Jews never had a slave in their life. That's a lie.
Anti-Semitism is the canary in the coal mine in a society.
Oh my God.
And its twin.
Good job. Round of applause for repeating the trope.
Is racism against African Americans. When those two things get going, there's a sickness in society that can't be beat. And the lies that we're told to divide blacks and Jews stop tonight. The lie that they tell us, thank you. The lie that they tell us that Sephardic Jews participated in the slave trade, they were the big slavers, not quite so. The lie that they tell us that blacks and Jews who worked together to transform America and hence the world in the 50s and 60s, that alliance called the Grand Alliance can never...
No, only white people had slaves. Everybody knows that, right? Jews would never lie about them being slave masters.
Come back because it was rooted in social justice. Jews became rich. We did not. We focused on affirmative action. They focused on wealth and accomplishment. Not true. Social justice as an interpretation of the Hebrew Bible is reason enough to have a coalition of blacks and Jews, but there are many more reasons. Once we dispel the big lies, I think we have a powerful force. And I'd like to make the case that Jews really need us for the simple fact, and this is something that's been hard for me to believe, but I've been told many times, I've read it many times. There are no more than 15 to 20 million Jews on Earth. Is that true? In a world of 8.1 billion people, you kind of need black people because on the continent we're growing fast and we're good fighters. We like a good fight. We're good people.
Hey, Jews and blacks team up to fight against the white man. Is that what we're hearing right now? She lies about there being Jews who were involved with slavery. And then she says the Jews need blacks to be their fighters against the white man. Are you kidding me? Dude, this is like the John Leibowitz clip. He says, we got to team up and get whitey. Dude, this is such a wake-up call. She thinks this is going to radicalize people seeing this thing right here. This is amazing. Hey, Jews, you need some fighters. You need some soldiers to fight against the white man for you. Let's team up against those whites. Getting those shekels, huh? I can't believe I just heard that.
You kind of need black people because on the continent we're growing fast and we're good fighters. We like a good fight. We're good people. Don't believe what they tell you. You need numbers. Sometimes you lose just because of numbers. But what's been remarkable about Israel.
Dude, now it's not just Jews waging war. It's the blacks teaming up with the Jews to wage war against us now. This is why the ADL is involved with NAACP. Wasn't it a bunch of Jewish lawyers that started NAACP and Jewish rabbis that were hanging out with and doing speeches with Martin Luther King?
Beats all of its adversaries, 7, 8, however many.
And they run all these movies like Amazon Hunters or Black KKK Klansmen about the blacks and the Jews teaming up against the white people. Talk about controlling the narrative. Amazing.
In small numbers and never ask anyone to fight for itself.
Hold on. I want to see if I can find the Jon Stewart. I know I covered it on a stream before. I showed the two back and forth where he goes, white people are evil. And then he says that he's Jewish and Jews and blacks need to team up against white people. Hold on. Maybe if I do Stewart. There we go.
Healing begins. This is why, because the Jewish community and the black community, we should be together. Jews and blacks we shouldn't fight, but there shouldn't be tension. Jews and blacks should get together and get whitey. I think. It's the kind of thing where they like to set us off on each other. It's like in race relations. They like to set people against each other. Although I will say this about black people. They should hate us. Black people should hate white people. I mean,
black people, they should hate us, he says. They should hate white people. Hey, fellow whites. Hey, blacks, us fellow whites are really bad. You should hate us.
Dome sent $5. This woman knows who butters the bread. She's absolutely groveling to him.
I know. This is so insidious, too. He'll sit up here and say, hey, blacks, you should hate white people. He goes, us white people are so evil. And then another joke, he says, hey, blacks, us Jews and blacks should team up and get Whitey.
Black people, they should hate us. Black people should hate white people. I mean, I'm glad that they're trying at least to be nice to us, but we really fuck them over almost at every turn. And every time they make something cool, we take it and ruin it. I mean, they made fucking jazz, beautiful, cool jazz, and we took it and went, well, let's see what Kenny G will do with it. And we fucking ruined everything.
It's funny because Kenny G is Jewish, right? He's part Jewish, half Jewish.
Yes. Black people are.
He is. Oh my God. What's his song? Kenny G identifies as Jewish. You think? Hey, evil white people stole your jazz, blacks. That Kenny G, that white Kenny G, both parents Jewish. Dude, that's a double dose of fellow white people meme. Is that not so funny? As a kid, I had no idea Kenny G was Jewish. That is so funny. I remember as a kid, like back before when cassettes used to be in cars, you'd listen to the radio, the oldies, and they'd have Kenny G. Smooth jazz, Kenny G. That's not his original song. He copied it. Hold on. I don't know why I'm doing this. His famous song. Oh, God, I don't know. The Moment, is that it? Leibowitz is on one. And G really did it. Okay, that's not it. Dude looks Jewish as fuck.